everyone did great, but standout performances I would love to point out is definitely David Johnson as Andy, Kaylee Spaney as Rain. She did
Yeah,
phenomenal.
she's
I would say also Archie did pretty good as Tyler. I mean, everyone honestly did. Even Eileen, who didn't have a lot of screen time, like for the screen time that she did have, like I felt like she played that role pretty solid. Like it felt this is, if you want to tag on, because we know we talk about this a lot in other episodes of podcasts and just in our movie talks in general, movies that want to take from the Guardians, like, kind of
ragtag group.
yeah, ragtag group and whatnot. Like this
I guess
movie
you're right,
does
yeah.
that,
They are.
and
I
it
wasn't
does
thinking
it
about
well.
that.
But that's what we were talking about in the other episode, though, Ian. Is just that, like, it's not even like we're saying like the Guardians thing, and like obviously we do give a lot of homage and a lot of praise to James Gunn and everyone who worked on those films for what they did. They were very amazing films, but like, it's really just a trope of ragtag team, right? So here it is again, ragtag team of people, and we talked about in our Borderlands review and how that was done so wrong, and here it's done so right. And we also talked about in that review how in a horror film you get a ragtag group often, people from different walks of life, maybe even somehow similar, but still they have their own unique backgrounds and stories, their own motivations, and you can pinpoint every person's individual motivation in that film and how it regards to what the mission is, what the goal is, and how the plot takes all of those and drives the narrative forward. Made for a great movie.
Yeah.
As when we talked about Borderlands, it didn't do any of that. Not to jump back to that, but we'll get back into it here. So I want to talk a little bit about how did you feel about fan expectations of the film going in? What was your expectation going in? How do you feel the film balanced nostalgia with innovation in terms of fan expectation?
Yeah, like I said, I don't like have that high of expectations. I've only seen the first one because I do like to go back and watch films that are considered classics, So I saw that. I really loved it. It's really great. I suggest anybody to go see it. I haven't seen anything else prior to seeing that, and I haven't really watched anything else after that. But I intend to. I think that with this film going in, I was just expecting that maybe like I'm sorry, I paused so long. My thoughts were trying to figure out how to come out. I was expecting if this film piques my interest more, I'm going to dive deeper in as sooner rather than later. If that makes sense.
Yeah.
Oops. That was my expectation. Sorry. My headphone. So I was like, if this movie's not super great, I'll probably just like, well, when I catch them, I'll catch them. If it was good, then I'd be like, okay, well, I want to dive deeper.
So you would say you were looking for something to pique your interest, something like it didn't have to necessarily be new or old because you don't really have that base knowledge of what that would look like. You just wanted something that felt good to you.
Yes, and not that the first film from the 70s is didn't feel good to me.
No, but that's the thing though. I feel like a lot of people, when we have these kinds of conversations, they don't want to hold up a film on its own merit. They want to always compare, and obviously that's the name of the game. That's how you usually review things. Like you got to compare it to something, So, but at the same time, like we do got to hold this film up on its own merit and see if it holds up on its own merit. So I think you can say. I want to see if it's good, not necessarily if it's good, meaning that Alien is not, just is this good?
Yeah.
So would you say you felt like it was?
Oh yeah. But yeah, I'm a big, well, I love science fiction. I love just a good, just weird science fiction. Like 2001 is one of my favorite science fiction films. Which is it's kind of horror maybe, like kind of, but it's more so of like a space sci-fi adventure thing.
Yeah.
So I want like I when I watch sci-fi, I want to be drilled into that universe that this is what life is like for humans now. You know what I mean?
100%. I agree with that 100%.
So when we watch Dune or we watch Star Wars or whatever other science fiction film, to that extent, like that either far in the future or like close future,
right?
I want to be like, okay, this is what it's like for these people now, and how are they interacting with this world? How is the atmosphere of the universe shaped?
Right.
And this movie, I think, ticks all those. With the the very first film, it's just they're on the ship. That's it. They don't go to a planet. They don't start on a planet. Whatever. It's just they are on the ship.
Yeah.
We know they're working for a company.
Right.
I think they're inspecting an old ship that it's kind of like linked to old alien life, or ancient life in the universe, and that's kind of it. Like that's all we kind of know. I mean, obviously we get introduced to the aliens, the xenomorphs, and the spider things, which are xenomorphs, I think, still, but
yeah.
I don't know if they have a separate name, but this one I was I loved everything about like their universe that they were just expanding upon, and it just, when I'm going to go back and watch, because now I'm going to tend to watch it in storyline order and not necessarily when it's released.
Right.
When I go back and watch, it's going to make me, I'm going to feel more appreciative of this universe of like, okay, well, I got this small snippet of whatever this was happening over here.
Right.
Now I got to go back and like experience it in the past, in that life, if that makes sense.
Right.